So as growing up, in that one bedroom apartment, I saw that my dad's always hustling, always trying to, provide food for the family. And that's where I got that mentality from, right? That's correct. I built all my capital through wholesaling real estate. As an entrepreneur, if you want to get ahead in the business, you need to be the one focusing on bringing more deals.
And today I've got a very special guest. I actually met this person at an event in San Antonio. And when he told me, number one, how old he was, but more importantly, that he was managing 8 businesses doing 6 and 7 figures, I was blown away. I needed to do more. I'm really honored today to introduce you to the phenomenal entrepreneur, Abdullah Ghaffar. Abdullah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the
What
show.
I always like to do as we kind of get started is really just know a little bit about the person's past, kind of like where you came from, and more importantly, where you're going. So, can you spend a couple of minutes and just kind of tell our listeners a little bit about your past?
So I'm 28 years old, right? I'm born and raised here in Chicago. But when I first got started, I got started in a one bedroom apartment with, 6 family members. My dad's an immigrant, so he came from Pakistan and he just wanted a good life for us, right? So he worked 3 different jobs. He used to, clean bathrooms, drive a taxi cab, and deliver newspapers in the morning, right? Hustler, right? So that hustling mentality came from him. Right. So as growing up, in that one bedroom apartment, I saw that my dad's always hustling, always trying to, provide food for the family. And that's where I got that mentality from, right? So as growing up, I got into entrepreneurship at a very, young age. I would say like around 14 years old, where I started selling t-shirts, started selling cell phone cases, started doing all types of things, right? And that's when I started getting into starting my own businesses, right? So that's where the hustle mentality comes from. And yeah, man, born and raised in Chicago. I had a background in after high school. I went to the IT industry. So I'm a business
Mhm.
analyst myself, right? I'm a business analyst. I had a nice 6 figure job. Didn't really enjoy it as much. So I went to deliver pizza. So I was delivering pizza for, a good time. And one day I just stumbled upon real estate wholesaling, right? Where you could wholesale contracts. It's a sales and marketing company. It's not even a real estate company where you go direct to the homeowner, get the property under a contract, sell that piece of contract to an investor, right? And make 10, 20, 30, even $100,000 on that agreement, right? So that's what I got started into. And I've been doing it for 6 years now. And I made millions of dollars in this business. And yeah, I'm here today. I own 30 plus rental properties, all paid off. I have multiple
Wow.
companies. I have about 73 cars all paid off for my rideshare company. I own multiple businesses. I have my own property management company, my own repair shop, my own wholesale business. I have my own fix and flip company, all types of stuff, man. And now I'm actually a coach. I teach other people how to get into real estate wholesaling as well.
Amazing. So let me back up and rewind. I want to make sure everybody heard that. You have 73 vehicles in your fleet. I'm assuming some of them are pretty high end that you own outright, meaning you're not making payments to a bank. You're not making payments on those. You also said you own a bunch of rentals that you own outright. There's no mortgages on these properties at all.
That's correct. No mortgages.
So these assets that you're owning that obviously are cash flowing, did you largely acquire those out of the millions you made wholesaling over the last 6 years?
That's correct. I built all my capital through wholesaling real estate. And then
Yep.
once I had a nice cushion, then I started acquiring those properties and putting them in my portfolio for rentals. Yeah, so
Gotcha. Okay. So wholesaling was the first business that you mastered. You made a ton of money there. What was your second business that you started or got into?
then I started getting into rentals, right? I started acquiring properties because cash flow, right? Cash is king.
Yeah,
So I
right.
started buying rentals, and with those rentals, it was additional $1,000 burst, $2,000 burst, $3,000 burst, and I just started acquiring more rentals. And then after that, I got into fixing and flipping. So that was the third
Mhm.
business. So everything's surrounding, like all my businesses are like circulating real estate,
Right.
So like,
Right.
wholesaling, fixing and flipping, rentals, property management, all that good stuff. Disposition, so helping other people sell their properties, that's a different business.
Mhm.
Just, high 6 figures on that, helping other people sell their properties. So, different niches, man. Then I got into different industries where it's like ride share. I got into creating my own call center and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So looking at the businesses that you own, I'm assuming along the way, there probably have been a lot of what I call learning experiences, made a few mistakes, had a couple bumps in the road. What for you as an entrepreneur and a business owner with all of these different businesses in different sectors has been maybe one of your biggest mistakes, but more importantly, look at it in a positive way? I don't view mistakes as mistakes. I view them as learning experiences.
Of
Because
course,
I tell people, if you make the same mistake twice, like,
you're an
dumb
idiot.
on you. You know, what's been a big learning experience on this journey for you that maybe you can share with other people so that they hopefully can avoid making that mistake?
What I would recommend is you need every single person has their own journey. You need to go, it's a roller coaster ride. You need to go through those mistakes. That those mistakes make you who you are today, right? Same with you, Brad, right? You had to go through mistakes for you to learn. And the only way you learn is when you go through mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Because each mistake just makes you better and better as time progresses. So, there's nothing that I would regret doing. Even like the business partners I picked, even the businesses that I started that failed, right? Because I started over 40 businesses, right? And not everything succeeded. But every single business that failed, I learned a lot from it. So it helped me achieve more, greater things for my next business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say just in life, it's a journey. So never think that, oh man, I failed on this business, I'm screwed, I'm done for. It's not like that. I failed many times, multiple times before I started succeeding, right? So it's just got to enjoy the journey. Just enjoy every single step, every single day. What they say in my religion, you wake up, right? It's a blessing of it's a blessing of itself. Everything else is a plus, right? Just us
Right.
waking, taking a breath, that's the biggest blessing. Everything, our
Exactly.
family, our wives, our kids, our money, cars, watches, everything is a plus. Just
Right.
us waking up is the biggest blessing. So, just wake up every day and leave it up to God's hands and just enjoy the journey. That's what I would
I've
say.
heard that before. You're absolutely right. My good friend Brad Lee asked people, if I gave you $10 million, but told you that you would die next week, would you take it? Hell no. That means that your life and waking up is worth more than $10 million. It puts things in perspective for you, kind of in a very similar manner to the way that you shared. But you're absolutely right. Just having your health and waking up every day really is the blessing. How in the world does a guy run 8 different companies doing 7, 8 figures in the aggregate at the age of 28?
My friends call me King Delegator, right? They call me that for a reason because you need to start delegating all the tedious tasks. So
Yeah.
I'll give you an example for real estate wholesaling, right? I know a lot of listeners are into real estate. They want to get to real estate wholesaling. That's where you start, right? Before you start, acquiring MFRs and before you start fixing and flipping and acquiring rentals, some people to build capital, you need to start wholesaling. So when you
Yep.
start wholesaling, there's multiple things in that business: pulling list, making the cold calls, doing market research, doing dispositions, talking to attorneys, talking with buyers, the acquisition work, talking to sellers, opening
Yep.
up escrow, all that. So there's so many different moving parts in any business, right? Even your business, so many moving parts. So what you do, once you understand the concept of each business, then you start delegating, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be, hire virtual assistants. That's what I did, right? So for a few dollars an hour, okay, you're going to be pulling the list. You're going to manage my CRM. You're going to be dealing with, transaction coordination. You're going to be dealing with all the attorneys. Your job is to do acquisitions, just talk to sellers. Your job is just to run comps. So now when you have people in place to do all these different things, because now if you put, I was doing everything in the beginning, right? As an
Right.
entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, you do everything in the beginning. But once you have a little bit of capital, you start investing in your team because one head, what they say, 2 heads are better than one, right? They say that for a
Mm-hmm.
reason. So when you have multiple people on your team, it's more powerful, right? And you go a longer way when you have multiple people on your team. So that's what I started doing. And now I have close to over 500 employees in my companies. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Unbelievable. Now, the people that you have on your payroll in all of these different businesses, are the majority of them 1099s? Do you actually have some W-2 employees as well, or do you have a little combination of both?
Combination of like my elites, right? Like my managers, my
Yeah.
executives, they're on payroll. But
Mm.
majority of them, like, I have a lot of I have over 400 cold callers, they're all
Yeah.
1099. But my executives, my managers, my,
Right.
quality control, all of them, they get a salary on a monthly basis. So, they're W-2.
Gotcha. Important message right there for everybody. Outsource and delegate. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles a lot of people have because most entrepreneurs are type A. When you look at, the way that they profile people and say, are you a type A? Are you a type B or C or D? And some people use different colors, but most entrepreneurs are control freaks. And I know when I was in business many years ago, it really took a lot for me to kind of loosen myself a little bit and delegate, because the mentality a lot of entrepreneurs have is, I can do this job better than anybody else.
Right.
And, the thing you have to realize as an entrepreneur is it's okay if that other person cannot do it as good as you. Maybe they only can do it 85, 90%,
Exactly.
but that's good enough to build a multi-million dollar business when you get 10 people that are doing 90, 95%, because now you can focus strategically on the big things that really move the needle. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend such a large part of the day on the small minutia bullshit that really doesn't bring in the big bucks. You got to be the visionary. You got to be the big picture thinker, being the things that really drive the needle. And you hit the nail on the head. You got to delegate the small things, the tasks, the remedial things to other people.
Exactly. And that way I used to tell myself one thing when every day I used to wake up, I used to say, I need to focus on money producing activities. So I need
Mm,
to be doing the things that are going to actually bring in the money. And I should
yes.
delegate the tasks that are just like management related things. Right. So as an entrepreneur, if you want to get ahead in the business, you need to be the one focusing on bringing more deals, bringing more money to the company. And then all the
Mm-hmm.
management, like dealing with clients, systems, processes, all this stuff should be all delegated. Right. So in the beginning, you do it yourself, but eventually, once you close some more deals, once you have some capital, then start delegation, start the
Mm-hmm.
delegation process.
I
So
love that. I love that philosophy. I love that philosophy. And in terms of building your business and building your legacy, I know you're recently married, so congratulations.
thank you.
How much of a role would you say your family, i.e., your upbringing, seeing your father struggle, multiple jobs, how much of that do you think carried over that really inspired you to be kind of what I call that person in the family that rose to the occasion, that said, hey, from me forward, my family's legacy is going to be changed?
And when you go through something like that, when you go through hard times where, you can't really buy what you want to buy, eat what you really want to eat, right?
Yeah.
I'm blessed. My dad, he did well to, provided for the family. It wasn't like a day that I went to sleep hungry, right?
Right.
We ate, I had clothes on. It wasn't that I was,
Right.
I had to change my mindset and I was like, I want nicer things. When I see nice
Mm-hmm.
cars, I'm like, how come I don't have that nice car? How come we, in our family, no one's driving that BMW or that,
Right.
that nice car, or how come I don't have that suit? So when I wasn't jealous or envy, I was like, hey, you have something nice on? Cool. I want to see how I could get that. I want to
Right.
see if I could drive that car. I want to see what do I have to do to be in your shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset I was thinking. Okay, I'm like, okay, and then what I figured out, most millionaires are made in the real estate space,
Yes.
right? So that's what I was doing. I was going on YouTube, because in our generation we have social media, right? So YouTube and all this stuff was out. So I just went on YouTube, typed in, how do I make money in real estate? How do I become a millionaire? And then slowly but surely started watching every single video, right? Education is the most important thing. We go to
Right.
school to educate ourselves in a certain niche, right? So we get a nice high paying job and provide for our family. So same type of concept. I watched every single video I could in the real estate space because I wanted to be in that space. And I went to every single webinar, every single seminar here in my local area in Chicago. And I met people, older people than me, that actually were millionaires, that actually had Rolexes, that had this and that had
Mm-hmm.
that. And if to me it was just a dream, a Rolex. Oh, if you have a Rolex on, you've made it, right? That's what, any man's dream is, right? I have a nice
Yeah.
watch, a nice car, have a nice house, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, to have that, I need to be around people that have that. And, that's what I did. I just put myself in the right position, and in the right places and met the right people. And just from that, just having conversations and networking, I started dabbling into the real estate and, started, doing well for myself. But
Yeah.
yeah.
When you were growing up, before you, got into real estate, was there something that you wanted to be maybe as a kid growing up, or, like a lot of kids, you're like, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to, be a doctor, that
Yeah.
if you didn't get into wholesaling, it would have led you down maybe a different career path?
Yeah, so I'm Middle Eastern, so all Middle Eastern parents They want you to, all Asian parents, they all either want you to become
Indians,
an
Asians,
engineer
yeah,
and a
exactly.
doctor, So either one or the other. So that's what, my parents wanted me to be. And that's what that's what I wanted to be myself. But then
Yeah,
after going through school and this, I was like, this is not really for me. And I actually like technology. I'm a very, tech savvy guy. So that's why I got
right.
IT industry, right? So in information technology, I was really fun with, softwares and systems and, CRMs and tracking metrics, KPIs, all that stuff, right? So that's what
Mhm.
I got into instead. And then taking the knowledge that I had in the IT industry and bringing it to real estate and putting all the puzzle pieces together, putting a CRM in place, tracking metrics, tracking KPIs, how many calls are made to a contract, all this stuff, right? And then, so I took my industry knowledge from what I knew and I brought it to real estate. And
Right.
the answer to your question is, yeah, doctor, lawyer is what I wanted to be. That's what my parents wanted me to be. And, that's what I thought I wanted to be for the longest until I got, my own taste of, the education system and, you know, I got into the IT industry. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, of course, because of your success, you're coaching others, you're obviously speaking. That's where we met. You're at events. But in our industry, and it's not just real estate, it's just the whole coaching universe. We got people like Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, obviously. What are some individuals that you look up to as role models? Like, who do you follow? And how have they influenced you, your values, your mindset, what you're doing, how you treat others? Like, who are some of the people that Abdullah Ghaffar follows?
And there's a lot of people in real estate in particular,
Yeah.
right? Brian Pineda is huge, right? That guy is like my go-to guy. I watch all his videos, all his reels, Instagram, YouTube, long form content, short form content. I watch all his stuff. Grant Cardone is what I grew up on. So Grant Cardone, when he's talking about multifamily and cap rates and cash flow and all that stuff, he's a huge inspiration. I actually read his book, and that's what led me to the right direction.
Mm,
Robert Kiyosaki, he's
yeah.
phenomenal. With Rich Dad Poor Dad. So you don't have to be rich to get into this business, right? To get into real estate. He said you don't really need money to get into real estate. Like OPM, right? He's really big on
Right.
that. So it's like, man, all these real estate entrepreneurs actually helped me out in my journey. So
I
those,
love that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in just, you got to listen, you got to have the right attitude. I tell people that, success in life is largely mindset. I think a lot of people they get in a slump and then the slump kind of, puts them into this fog, this haze, whatever you want to call it, this funk. And the
yeah,
quickest way to snap out of that, man, is number one, increase your intensity so you're busy as hell so that your mind's not dwelling on that. Number two, it's the PMA, listening to the positive podcast, learning. But the problem is a lot of people learn, Abdullah, and then they don't take action. It's like I went to this big event, I got the needle, which is the shot of adrenaline, felt great and excited, going to change the world. And then I wake up 6 months later, fucking same life I had before the event.
yeah. They call them
Big
event
thing.
junkies.
What do you call them?
Event junkies.
Event junkies. There you
They'll
go. It's a
do
great
every
term.
single event, but they're still in the same position that they were when they first started. So
Yeah. And so that is a great, great choice of words to explain these people that go to all these events, but it's the one thing that's just holding them back from committing because knowledge without action's never going to get you anywhere in life. Like you could be the best read book guru, bookworm, but unless you back that knowledge with the action of actually moving forward, you're never going to get off the ground.
exactly. I
Yeah.
100% agree.
I
Yeah, you
love
need
that.
action.
So talk to me a little bit about daily habits. I'm a big believer that daily habits set us up for success, like in your life or in your business. Do you have any specific daily habits or routines that you believe contribute to your success or your productivity?
Yeah, man, it's actually everything's in my religion. So I just follow
Mhm.
that. The first thing we pray 5 times a day. So how it's structured, you wake up before the sun sets, right? You wake up, you do your first prayer. We call it Fajr prayer. So you pray, you thank God for another day. You ask God for whatever you want. Suppose you have a big deal you want to close, something you want to accomplish, that car, the
Mhm.
watch, health, you pray for your family, you pray for everything, right? So
Mhm.
that's what we do in the beginning. That's around 5 or 6 a.m., right? So
Yeah.
we did that first, and then after that, I try going to the gym, right? So sometimes I'm consistent going there. I try doing at least 3 days a week. I'm trying to go every day, but 3 days is what what I'm doing right now. Once I do that, after that, I come to the office and then it's like time to work because I have multiple companies. So now I have to do scrum meetings with all my teams. So now like first team I do is my wholesale team, right? So we do a 10 to 15 minute scrum meeting, see what's in the pipeline, see what's under contract, see what's been listed, see what's been what EMD came in, all that good stuff, right? I have about 6 acquisitions in-house. So we're on the phone, we're talking, who's coming to the office, who's not coming to the office, who's gonna get leads today, who's not gonna get leads today, all that good stuff, right?
Right.
So that's what we do with that scrum meeting. After that, they get to work. Then I'm on to my next company. Then I'm on to my next company. Then, so it's just like then I'm doing training. And then, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have other things aligned. So every day is different, right? I have a plan because I do, like, live trainings. I have my students. So we take care of that certain days of the week. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I do live calls from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We do live calls with all our students in our Discord. So it's like, every day is just like team meetings, scrum meetings, just dealing with all the companies, right? So what I usually do, like I say 1 hour per company every single day, So if you get 1 hour per company every single day and slowly and gradually, there's gonna, get better and better and better and just put
Mhm.
systems, processes, and people in place in each company and just keep expanding. So that's what we do.
One thing that I'm a big believer in, which helped me when I started my business. People thought I was an absolute crazy fool because I was making very comfortable mid upper six figures. Had all the benefits, perks of an executive life, 401k, retirement plans, healthcare was paid for by the company, match. And I'm like, I'm going to go do this. And people are like, are you an idiot? Like, what do you know about coaching and changing people's lives?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I remembered a story. You may have heard about the story where Jim Carrey, was a struggling actor, wrote himself a check for 10 million bucks. And he carried that little $10 million check to himself in his billfold. And he was on the Tonight Show one day and, talked about this and pulled it up. Of course, it was all wrinkled, basically falling apart. And so I went out on the internet and I bought myself, one of these basically $1 million bills, and I stuck it in my billfold. And the funny thing is, fast forward, and it hasn't been a long time. I mean, we're only into this about 2 years now. Got obviously two of these on the wall, third on the way, which is the Two Comma Club. Busted through seven figures as a business owner, net worth obviously in the seven figures. And I keep saying I got to get a bigger check. But what are some items on your bucket list that maybe you are very excited about accomplishing? For example, I know you drive a nice Porsche, but what was like your biggest bucket list item that you've actually now accomplished? And then with that answer, what is your biggest bucket list item that you have yet to accomplish that you're looking forward to?
That's a nice question. So when I first started 6 years ago in my entrepreneur journey, I didn't have anything, right? I didn't have the
Mhm.
Rolexes, I didn't have the Porsches, I didn't have any properties. So I had a bucket list then, and I've achieved all the bucket lists that I had so far. Now the
Right.
new bucket list, it has nothing to do with money, right? It has nothing to
Mhm.
do with properties. Yeah, I do want 100 rentals in my portfolio, right? I have about 32 right now, but I feel like it's bigger than that now. What I want to do is impact 100 million people. That's what the goal is. Now that's like the long-term play, right? I want to have 100 million people impacted to where they're learning about how to fix and flip real estate, how to wholesale real estate, how to build
Mhm.
capital, how to do all this good stuff, right? With the real
Yep.
estate space so they can actually help their families and put food on the table. So that's like the
Mhm.
big goal is impact 100 million people. I know you're in the coaching business as well, and so am I. And just impacting people, right? Because
Right.
what happens is when you have like-minded people on your team, now you start doing deals with them. Like I've done so many deals with my students, right? I had students that were, they used to work at the airports, right? Used to be doing this, doing that, front counter. I had people that used to work at restaurants and whatnot, right? Little odd jobs. And then when they came to the wholesaling space and they understood the concept and they came to all the trainings and actually took action, right? Not just, endure the knowledge, but actually take the action and
Mhm.
actually made a change for their life. I have students that made 40,000 in 3 months. I have another student that made 65,000 in 2 months. I have another student that made
Wow.
220,000 in 6 months, right? So people that actually took action and started changing their lives, that's what I'm in it for. Because that's what gives me that high. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I get a high from anything else. When I get checks, like today we just closed another deal, $13,000. That doesn't give me a
Right.
high. Or it
Right.
was like, oh, I made 13,000, I made 100,000 this month. Awesome. It doesn't give me a high anymore. But when someone else says, hey, I just made 20,000, I just made 13,000, that gives me a high. Because I know I provide that value. I educated them. They came to my training. I coached them to make a significant amount of money. And
Right.
that's what I'm in it for now, It's impact
Mhm.
100 million people.
I love now the people that you've helped, are they then taking action as well, helping others? Is it kind of a snowballing type effect? I mean, maybe they're not coaches, but are they sharing their knowledge and the successes that they've had now with other people as well?
Yeah, so in our Discord, we have people posting results. We have people helping other students that are just coming in. And when they have deals, because I can't really take all the deals on myself and my
Yeah,
team, they do as much as they can. But now I have other people in there like, oh, you have a deal in Vegas? Oh, yeah, I actually have a buyer. Oh, you have a deal in PA? Oh, we got
right.
some Wisconsin? Oh, yeah, we just sold one there. I got a buyer. So it's just like they're just helping each other out now. So it's like a whole community. So
Mm,
it's like I feel like, I'm really proud of my community. It's the elite
yeah,
flippers community, and then it's really happy. Now we're throwing events too, so we have events going on every single month, helping new
mhm,
people here in Illinois. I have people flying out from different places. We actually have an
yep,
event on the 31st. I have
yep.
people flying from California, I have people flying in from Seattle, all types of places to these events that we throw. So it's
I love
phenomenal.
that. I love that. The one question that might be a little bit more challenging to answer, but I find it very fascinating when I look at people of success, where they've come from, obviously people of varying religious beliefs, backgrounds. How do you feel maybe your cultural preferences, being obviously Pakistani, have influenced basically either your creativity or maybe your decision making? Um, because you spoke earlier about, you pray 5 times a day. Most people don't do that, right? Um, but you look at all of these successful immigrants that come to the United States, and you look at people that have gone on to become millionaires, business owners, very successful. And I've asked this question before, and they say, oh, it's definitely made a big difference. I'm just curious, as your perspective, how do you feel your cultural preferences have influenced your success as it relates to just where you are in life today?
The first thing I would like to say is I give all my things to God. Right? I used to
Yeah,
ask
love that.
God. I used to ask him because I
I
used to
love.
be making six figures, under six figures, even below like the 30, $40,000 mark, right?
Yeah,
I used to be doing delivering pizza and just coming up, I used to just come from not so much money, right?
right.
So I asked God, I used to pray for $100 million every time. God, I want to pray for 100 million. Please help me. How do I get
Manifestation. Yeah,
yeah,
manifestation.
just manifesting, right? And then rather than manifesting and telling myself, I used to be telling God. So I feel like when there was someone there that I was talking to, yeah, he wasn't there physically where I could see him, but I knew in the back of my head, in my mind, in my heart that he was listening, right?
Yeah.
So it was
Yep.
just like every day just praying and praying. So I knew like whenever it was time for prayer, I know it's time for me to talk to him, right? And
Mm,
ask more for more things. Either it's for health, it's for wealth, it's for my family, it's for a pious wife, pious kids, whatever the case may be, right? So that's
yep.
what you do. And I feel like it's a huge change in my life. When I started doing that, that changed everything for me because now I had a bigger purpose. And then every time you
Mm,
pray, just think of new
yep.
things. So now I'm like, hey,
Right.
God, whoever needs help, please bring them closer to me, right? So now I'm praying for that. So now God's just bringing people left and right. It's just like people are
Right.
knocking on my doors, like, hey, I want to learn. Hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to partner up with you. And I have so many new opportunities that are coming along because I asked God for that thing, right? So I just put it out in the universe and then let God do the rest. So I
Right.
would
Right.
recommend for everyone, doesn't matter what religion you are, just close your eyes every morning or before you go to sleep and ask God for whatever you want and just stay consistent. Because if you're consistent, eventually it's going to come across and you're going to actually make it happen, right? So it's just like, so you gotta stay consistent with anything that you do. It could be either if you're cutting hair, right? If you're a barber, when you cut the first time, it's not the best. Everything's uneven. But eventually, once 3 months in, 6 months in, you're cutting hair every day. Now you're gonna know how to fade. You know how to line up correctly. So that's just being
Yeah.
consistent. You become an expert in that field, right? Same thing with real estate. You might not close deals in the beginning, but as soon as you're consistent, you're talking to people because the business that I'm in is a contact sport. So the more
Right.
contacts you make, the more contracts you make, and the more
Exactly.
contracts you get. So it's just like the same type of concept where it's like same thing with praying. The more you pray, the better you are at getting at prayer. The better you are at asking for things, and then it's just like just the consistency of it will just bring you closer and closer to that goal. So.
Yeah. I love it. In our business, I always get people that try to put blame on other factors. Oh, investor sentiment right now sucks. Or, hey, interest rates have affected my ability to raise capital. Or this industry's upside down right now. Or sellers aren't aligned with buyers. And at the end of the day, I just kind of chuckle. I'm like, well, shit, my students are fucking raising money hand over fist, and your students are wholesaling and making thousands of dollars, and I'm sure that you've done it pretty much in every economic environment that we've seen over the last couple of years because you've been at it for quite a while. But when you look at these external factors like global events, economic shifts, all that stuff, does it really, at the end of the day, you think impact business to the extent people try to blame it? Or are you still out there basically just making hay? Life's good. It's all about just waking up every day and going through the motions.
I feel like 99% of people just make excuses,
I
right?
love it.
They
Yep.
blame other things. But when it comes to us, I see it like if there's a downfall, there's an opportunity. Like
Yeah.
COVID, when COVID came, everyone was locked in, businesses were closed. We actually made the most amount of money in COVID, right? Because we took
Mhm.
action and we found other things to do in that
Yeah.
COVID, right? Like people selling masks, this, that. We were actually targeting distressed homeowners and, saying, hey, I know it's COVID. And we were just targeting everyone, like the whole county. We're trying to see what's
Yeah.
going on, if they want to sell or not. So it's just in every downfall, there's opportunity. So you
Mhm.
can make excuses for this economy or this or that crisis is just if people make excuses, they're gonna make excuses. But people that
Yeah.
actually take action while there's a downfall, they're actually gonna get ahead in the industry. So
Right. Right.
just start taking action. Doesn't matter what occasion it is, doesn't matter what it is, what's going on in the world, just keep
Yeah.
taking action.
That's
Because
it. It's about showing up every day. It's like my good friend Coach Michael Burt says, pros show up every day, even on days that they don't want to show up. It's about showing up, putting out, and just getting the job done. Tim Grover talks about types of people. Are you a closer, and a cooler? And are you the type of person that when you walk into the room, people kind of shudder like, oh my God, it's Abdullah Ghaffar, man. Like, that dude's a stud, right? That's where you want to be. I always love kind of closing our sessions, Abdullah, with what I call some kind of funny, whimsical questions. It's just really more for fun, but also just to kind of find out a little bit about you as a person. So, the first kind of a whimsical question is if you could have a dinner party and invite three guests, who would they be?
Man, I would invite Ryan Pineda.
Okay.
I would invite Bradley.
I like Brad. Yeah.
I like Bradley's, and then I would invite Grant Cardone.
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah,
big room, man.
those are the heavy hitters.
And the funny thing is, all three of those guys are good buds. They all like each other.
All right.
I know Bradley, knows Grant Cardone. I mean, I've shared the stage multiple times with Brad. I know Ryan Pineda. That is a power room, man. That is a phenomenal power room. The second question, just a little bit more whimsical, is you're walking into a karaoke bar and a celebrity walks in. Who is it and what song would they sing?
Man, I'm not really big into songs, but if it was a song, let's see,
Or what celebrity?
what celebrity? Hmm. To be honest, I'm like more of a podcast type of guy. Yeah. Um, but it's like whatever's on my playlist, like music wise, I try not listening to music because it's like the profanity, like especially like nowadays, the music is just like it's not like the same as before. There's a lot
Okay,
of
yeah.
you really don't get any value from the music. I rather listen to a podcast, find out one gem, implement that gem into my business, help me succeed tenfold, right? With
Yeah,
music, just turn in, not really a big fan. I don't even go to karaoke bars or anything like that. So
gotcha. Not a
yeah,
problem.
I can't even think
So,
of any songs or celebrities on top of my head because it's just
I'm sure a lot of people that listen when we release this, as well as, of course, the replay for many, many months to follow, are going to want to connect with you. Many of them might want to learn how to wholesale. Many of them might want to come to one of your events. I know you and I are partnering up on a big event in Vegas here with some of our friends in the very near future. The 360 event with Jack Lynn and a couple of other big studs. But what's the best way for people to find you? Is it just Googling your name, or is there maybe on Instagram? How people want to reach out to you, Abdullah, so they can ask you questions or maybe, work with you as a coach? What would be the best way for people to reach out and contact you?
so they could find me on every single platform. Just type in I Hustle Bro because I'm
Oh,
actually a hustler. So you can find me there. And then if you do want to join my elite program and become part of the elite family, go to eliteflippers.com and just fill out a form. And then my team will give you more information so you can start wholesaling with us and be part of the family.